Hello and welcome into today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks and I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI. And the 4-2 Arizona State Sun Devils are just under 3 days away from embarking on a massive battle against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And the number 7 team in the country, Kenny Dillingham, believes that they are a top 5 team in the country. Marcus Arroyo, after practice Wednesday, said that he believes this is as talented of a team as he's ever faced in the Big 12, even with the Oklahoma teams when he was in the Big 12 previously. And it's going to be an incredibly consequential battle for the Sun Devils season in 2025 and even looking forward. This is another program in Texas Tech that, much like Utah, is jockeying to be considered the cream of the crop in the Big 12 moving into the future with no Oklahoma, no Texas. Arizona State's in that mix as well, and this is another game that's possibly going to serve as a litmus test. It's going to possibly go a long way towards enticing recruits from Texas. Arizona State has had as much success as anybody else in recruiting the state of Texas outside of the schools that are actually located there. And it's going to be an interesting battle all the way through. And I wanted to talk specifically on this show about today's edition of the show of potential roadblocks facing Arizona State and even Texas Tech this week. Kenny Dillingham discussed preparing for two different quarterbacks when asked by me, and I wanted to talk about that as well. But let's get started with the injury front. There are going to be three players that I talk about that I want to focus on. So, actually, four players. So, running back wise, Kyson Brown is out for the foreseeable future per Kenny Dillingham. He said that much after practice today. I think that a lot of us knew that something wasn't right when he didn't take a single snap against Utah, despite being listed as active, as well as he didn't really leave a mark in either the Baylor or the TCU game when he came back from his original injury that he suffered against Mississippi State. And that is just an unfortunate development. Kyson Brown, possibly pound for pound the most talented running back on the roster, and that's saying something because there are 5 talented running backs on the roster. So the bar is very high, and the fact that he might be the most talented is just a testament to who he is as a player. 145 total yards from scrimmage in his debut in 2025, and it just hasn't been much fortune when it comes to finding his footing in that department. Kenny Dillingham said that we're talking about an extended absence that goes beyond the bye week, which will be November 8th after the game against Iowa State. So that means at best he has 3 more games left this season. He played in 4, so if it gets down to the point where they decide it's not worth bringing him back, medical redshirt could be on the table. He could get 2 more years of eligibility. We'll see what happens. It's not that time to cross that road. But I wish all the best to Kyson. The team is more fun to watch when he's playing, and he's a great kid. Very explosive player. Practices hard every single day he's out there. Best of wishes to you, Kyson. And the one that behind him that is a little surprising is Demarius Man Robinson, a freshman running back, received some first team snaps today because Kanye Udo was out because he was under the weather. It still can be assumed that Udo is going to get a fair share of carries and snaps this week behind Raleek Brown, but we shall wait and see what happens. I believe Man Robinson is ready to take on a role if called upon, so that'll be fascinating. And then number 3, Ben Coleman, according to OC Marcus Arroyo, was set to undergo his surgery today for the season-ending injury that he suffered against Utah His college career is unfortunately over, but Arizona State fans could expect him to rejoin the program in some capacity. We know Trenton Bourget became the assistant running backs coach upon running out of eligibility and leaving the program as a player. That's very, very possible that Ben Coleman could do something similar. He could join in on Saga Tuatele's staff as an assistant offensive line coach. He could be a GA. There's a number of routes they could take. He's just somebody that you want around your program, and I think every single coach, every single player agrees with that on the inside of the Arizona State program. Now for the player that we've all been waiting to discuss, quarterback Sam Leavitt. Everybody knows, missed the Utah game with a foot injury that he suffered against Baylor, according to Coach Kenny Dillingham. So he's been battling through it for about 3 weeks now. They thought that the bye week was going to provide enough time for him to get right and get back into game action. It looked good during last week. Something happened that proved to be a setback, and they decided it was in the best interest of the program up for Sam Leavitt to sit him out of that one, especially with the rain and all those conditions in play. John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports already reported that Jeff Sims took first team snaps during the bye week. So there was some preparation, but I don't think there was anticipation that he was going to miss that game, which gives me confidence that he is going to play this week. That's just my guess. As of this recording dropping in the morning, we should know more because the injury report is coming out. The initial player availability / injury report is set to come out in a few hours on Wednesday night. We should know more then. But today, media was allowed to get pictures of Sam Leavitt. He was not wearing any tape or any safeguard on his foot. He looked very good in practice, per my judgment, and I don't anticipate him missing a game of this magnitude. I think that he's going to be out there. He looks good, like I said, and I think Arizona State needs Sam Leavitt to win this game, especially with the uncertainty that Texas Tech has at quarterback. Baron Morton is kind of in the same situation. He's considered day-to-day. Will Hammond is a completely different style of quarterback. He's more of a dual threat compared to the more field manager, game manager, stabilizing force that Baron Morton is. And Kenny Dillingham discussed that. This is the last thing that I want to talk about before we wrap up today's show. I asked him about the challenges preparing for two, and he gave kind of the same answer that Brian Ward did, just in shorter form. He said, it's not really about the personnel as much as it is about the coaching first, the style of offense, and then you look at the personnel. But he also said you can't read between the lines too much. You can't get your hand stuck in too many cookie jars for better verbiage, better or worse verbiage. You really can't go too deep into that rabbit hole of preparing for multiple scenarios. If you do, you're just going to confuse your guys and put them in a worse position. But Arizona State's defense will be tested. We'll see who lands on the player availability report. I don't anticipate any major players being out this week on the defensive side of the ball, except for those that already have been out, like Xavier Alford, Albert Smith. I think those guys will be out. Cyrus Viaseu already ruled out for the season. Zach Swanson, I think that he will not play again this week, just based off of my impressions. Outside of that, I think everybody else should be good to go. And that will be a major test against the rushing attack that is led by Cameron Dickey, who nearly secured 300 rushing yards last week. But I believe in the Sun Devils. I might not pick them to win this week. We shall see what happens in the preview phase of the week. But I think they can keep this game competitive. And I think Sam Leavitt is going to play. Take that with a grain of salt. A lot can change over the next 2.5-3 days. But that's really all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in once again today. Your support means the absolute world to me. And I will see you tomorrow after probably the Arizona State women's basketball availability tomorrow afternoon. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you then.